Good evening, families and community members. Welcome to the Division of Academics, Family and Community Cluster Training. We are excited to have you here with us tonight as we wrap up the trainings with the North Atlanta and Therrell clusters.
Good afternoon, parents and families. My name is Dr. Natasha Rachel, and I'm the Director for Instructional Technology with Atlanta Public Schools. And I would like to welcome every one of you to Atlanta Public Schools Division of Academics Spring Family Community Cluster Meeting. That's a mouthful. On behalf of our presenters tonight, Therrell Riggins. Let's have everyone introduce themselves. So we'll start with Therrell.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Therrell Riggins. I am the Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction.
Thank you, Therrell. Cheryl?
Hi, good evening. I'm Cheryl Parker. I'm the Interim Director of After School and Summer Programs.
Thank you. Monique?
Good afternoon, everyone, or I should say good evening, everyone. I am Monique O'Brien, the Director of Research and Evaluation.
And we will close it out with Dr. Lovett.
And good evening again. I forgot to introduce myself a moment ago, but I am Katika Lovett, Assistant Superintendent for Student Services. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. So this is our agenda for the evening. We have done welcome and introductions. We're going to speak about our APS 5, which I'm sure you've heard about. We'll go into some detail with that. We are also going to talk about our APS Academic Recovery Plan, as well as our APS Summer Academic Recovery Academy. So our offerings for 2022 and beyond. In addition, we'll also talk about our K-12 Universal Screener updates. That's our NWEA MAP assessment, as well as our BASC 3 BEST. And then we will move on to Parent Insights and our website overview, and then we will finish with Q&A. So our APS strategic plan, we are so excited to share our collective vision for the next 5 years. Our strategic plan, which is titled We Are APS Building on Our Legacy, is about how we come together as a community to achieve our vision of a high-performing school district where students love to learn, educators inspire, and families engage. In addition, the community trusts the system. The plan provides an intentional focus and direction for all of us as we move through the next 5 years. So APS is focused on 4 key priorities, and you can see them here on your screen. So fostering academic excellence for all, building a culture of student support, equipping and empowering leaders and staff, and creating a system of support for schools. These priorities reiterate our focus to prioritize our focus on equity, excellence, and engagement throughout Atlanta Public Schools. And now we will have a quick video on the APS 5. There is no sound on the video.
What is the APS 5? The APS 5 is our term for a specific group of methods we're using to improve results for all students.
So, how did we come up with these 5 things?
We asked ourselves, when it comes to education, what is getting in our way that we can do something about?
What is a roadblock to progress that we can define and eliminate?
Inequity was the answer.
By the way, equity is the quality of being just and fair, regardless of economic, social, cultural, and human differences among and between persons.
If you hear us say equity, that's what we're talking about.
Knowing that we need to give inequity the boot, we asked ourselves some more questions.
What works really well to help students do their best? And how can we make sure we're using the stuff that works really well everywhere so we can get better faster?
The APS 5 is our list of answers to these important questions.
Atlanta, just like school systems all across the country, has pockets of greatness and examples of excellence everywhere. And now we are focusing on 5 measurable methods we already know work great.
When everyone in every school has the same understanding of what to do and how to do it, and has the tools and support to get to work doing what they do best,
We know that's a winning formula.
this will help us do away with uneven results across schools and across groups.
It will help our teachers love what they do even more.
It will help our students love learning even more.
And it will help me
And me.
And me graduate on time, ready and set for college, career, and life.
So as you can see, the APS 5 is our roadmap to accomplish academic excellence for all of our students. So that video outlined how that will work with your scholar. So we are going to now talk a little bit more in depth about the APS 5. So you've watched the video, and as you saw, it's made up of 5 components: data, curriculum and instruction, whole child and intervention, personalized learning, and signature programming. So with data, it's just what it states. We're going to utilize that data to drive all instructional decisions and make sure all of our students have equitable outcomes, every single one of our students. For curriculum and instruction, we are implementing those rigorous and culturally relevant and linguistically responsive curriculum with fidelity in all core content areas and instructional best practices in Tier 1 instruction. For whole child and intervention, we are implementing a whole child system of supports. So that integrates social emotional learning behavior, wellness, and a comprehensive academic intervention plan. Personalized learning is where we're able to use those flexible learning tools, technology integration, and targeted instruction to personalize each individual student's learning. And then we finish with signature programming that strengthens our implementation of our signature programming across all schools. So we will move on to our APS academic recovery plan. So in response to the pandemic, APS really wants to ensure that our students are on track and that they're all academically supported. The APS academic recovery plan will include school-based intervention blocks in every single school, summer instruction that aligns a focus of literacy and mathematics, and to assess our students' progress. To make sure that we do that, we have a comprehensive assessment system that includes a K-12 universal screener, which you'll hear more about this evening for academics, as well as behavior, along with progress monitoring tools and assessments that students can participate in daily. So with that, I'm going to pass it along to Ms. Cheryl Parker for a preview of our APS summer offerings.
Thank you, Dr. Rachel. Again, I'm Cheryl Parker, your Interim Director of After School and Summer Programs. And tonight I will be sharing with you information regarding our summer ARA, as well as the additional summer offerings provided by Atlanta Public Schools. The key information for our elementary and middle schools are as follows. Again, our dates for summer ARA are June 1st through the 30th. And for elementary and middle school, that would be a 5-day-a-week full day schedule. Our academic focus, again, this year is literacy as well as mathematics. Our students will participate in Power Up programming for 90 minutes. All students are encouraged to register. However, the identified students receive individual invitations and again are strongly encouraged to attend. We will provide accommodations and teacher support for students with disabilities as well as our English learners. Also on the schedule, students will participate in social and emotional learning. Our students will attend summer ARA based on their current enrollment. So if your student is attending school currently in person, then he or she will attend summer ARA in person. If your student is enrolled virtually, which is for our current AVA students, then we will provide summer ARA virtually. Again, transportation is provided for students who participate in the full day program. Our high school students, again, will participate in summer ARA, which is a focus on credit recovery and graduation, and those dates are June 1st through the 30th. If your student is scheduled for a course that has an end of course test, those exams will be administered June 21st through the 24th. Unlike our elementary and middle school, our high school students will have a half school day schedule. It still is 5 days a week, but it is a half school day schedule. Our Wings at Phoenix will continue to focus on seniors who are on target to graduate this summer. Our high school program is a blended model of instruction, where they will receive direct teacher instruction as well as Edgenuity offered at our high school sites. AVA, again, is the only virtual option for students. Students will be assigned a content teacher, and if working during the school day, students will have access to a virtual classroom with a content teacher for questions. Social and emotional learning will also be integrated in the schedule. And accommodations and teacher support for students with disabilities and English learners will be provided. And once again, our students will have the opportunity to be transported by Atlanta Public Schools. Our registration for elementary and middle school will close on Sunday, April 10th, 2022. So if you have not had an opportunity to register your student, please do so by April 10th, which is a Sunday, the last Sunday of spring break, but we really need you to register by April 10th. Our high school students counselors, are facilitating registration, and actually their registration date has been extended because we do have spring break and our counselors are on spring break. And so the Thursday after spring break will be the last day that the high school counselors will be able to register their students. As last year, our students will receive a healthy breakfast and lunch for all students, elementary, middle, and high school students. And again, transportation will be provided to those students who are participating in a full day program for elementary and middle school, as well as our credit recovery students in high school. Families, if you want your student to participate only in the Power Up portion of the day, then you will have to provide transportation to and from the program site. Here you'll see our student enrollment projections, and for elementary and middle school students recommended for participation in ARA, we use the MAP, the winter MAP assessment results to identify those students, the RIT scores for kindergarten and first grade students, and the Georgia Milestone Achievement Level predictor for students in grades 2 through 8. The elementary school, we are predicting or anticipating 7,412 students, and in middle school, we're expecting 3,811. Also shown on the screen are our subgroups. So of those 7,400 students, 886 are students with disabilities, 496 are our English learners only. And then we have students who are both SWD and EL, and that's 72 in the elementary space. In the middle school, 818 students are SWD, 216 are EL, and 79 students are both SWD and English learners. Our high school, again, we're focused on credit recovery, but shown on your screen are just a snapshot of our students who are missing high school credits. Here you'll see these are typical ninth grade courses. So in the ninth grade lit, Algebra 1, American Government, and Biology, these are students, each column represent students that are missing those credits. So if your student needs to take ninth grade lit or recover ninth grade lit, please talk to your student as well as the counselor to register for those credits. Our goal, again, is to clear all of these missing credits so that our students are on pace to graduate in their cohort year. Here shown on the screen are our sites for summer ARA. You'll see several sites, again, for our elementary and their feeder schools, as well as our middle school sites and our high school sites. Again, these sites are all in-person sites with the exception of the virtual, and we're anticipating and looking forward to having our students join us this summer. Our elementary schedule. Our staff will arrive at 7:15, and we would like our students to be on campus by 7:45 to receive that healthy breakfast, followed by social and emotional learning, literacy, lunch and recess, and mathematics. And then at 12:55, they will transition to Power Up. We will end our day with mindfulness and dismiss at 2:45. Literacy, math, and Power Up are all 90 minutes each day. The middle school schedule. Our employees will arrive at 8:45, and our students will be served breakfast at 9:15, followed by social emotional learning, literacy or math, lunch and brain break, and then math or literacy, followed by Power Up at 2:25. Again, we will end our day with mindfulness, and the students will begin dismissal at 4:15. As mentioned previously, our high school schedule is a half-day schedule. So our employees will arrive at 8:15, and our students will be served breakfast at 8:45. Social emotional learning at 9:10, and then they have the option of course 1, lunch, course 2 if needed. Mindfulness will begin at 12:45, and our students will be dismissed at 1 o'clock. As always, Atlanta Public School has additional summer offerings, and shown on your screen are some of our most popular programs and long-standing programs. So we have SIMC, Level Up Math, Fine Arts Camp, Xanadu, extended school year for our students who require extended school year. We have Kinder Camp, summer transition programs, as well as Summer Bridge. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Therrell Riggins again. I have the pleasure of talking to you tonight about our universal screener, the NWEA MAP assessment, and provide some winter 2022 updates. A few reminders about the MAP growth assessments before we begin. The MAP growth assessments are part of our APS academic recovery plan. It's also aligned to our district strategic plan. Students will take MAP reading fluency if they're in pre-K through second grades, and they will take MAP growth for math and reading for K through 12. This assessment serves as our first K through 12 universal screener for all students in APS. The MAP timeline and completion rates are as follows. Our fall testing window was completed on September 13th, and 92.5% of all APS students were tested in each of the 3 assessments named before. Additionally, the winter testing window has already closed. That closed on January 14th, and 95% of all APS students took all 3 assessments. We're currently in our spring testing window. You see March 28th there, but there are sometimes students who are lagging behind. So we allow for a few more days to close that out. So we are finishing up at the close of this current week, which would be April 1st. We're going to take a quick look at what it's like after a student has taken the MAP assessment. So hold on, let me share my screen so that you can have a good look at what it feels like, looks like, and sounds like for one of our students to take the MAP growth assessment.
Hi, I'm in 3rd grade. My name is Lila. A few days ago, it was parent-teacher conferences. My mom and dad both went with me. They used to be teachers, and my dad knows all about the MAP test. They had lots of questions. They really like to ask questions. But I surprised them. Before they asked my teacher, I took them to my desk to see my MAP goal sheet. And I explained how MAP shows me what I'm good at, what I need to get better at, and how I use that to set my goals for the next time. I told him how much I like seeing my scores. He asked me why. I think he was a little bit surprised. So I asked him, Dad, remember how every year on my birthday, you made a mark on the door to show how much I grew? That's how MAP works. Each time I take the test, it's like I get to make another mark on the wall. Then I set goals, then I keep growing. It was really fun to take my parents to each class and show them how much I had grown and learned. That makes me really happy. They both looked happy too.
As you receive your family report at the end of the close of the MAP window, again, this report likely will not arrive to your doorstep until after spring break. 3 important words to remember. RIT score, that's the measurement, a measurement scale developed to simplify how we understand MAP test scores. Number 2, the achievement percentile tells us how well a student performed in comparison to similar students. And number 3, the growth percentile. That lets us know how much a student grew in comparison to similar students. Let's take a closer look at what those assessment reports will look like. This is the cover of the MAP family report. You can kind of see at the top mathematics and then reading, showing you some different areas. So let's dive deep into what those areas will look like when you receive the report. First, locate the section of the family report that says average achievement. And I want to stop here. We're going to use a student that is fictitious at the moment, but in order for everyone to understand how the report actually reads, we're going to use a student named Christopher Albert. If you see here, Christopher's overall RIT score was 201 on a scale of 100 to 350. That means Christopher is in the 47th percentile, which means they scored better than 47% of their peers. Remember, we talked about comparison of students before. You can also locate on the family report that says high growth. In this area, you can see exactly where Christopher landed in comparison to the average. So if you see here, it says your child's growth from fall 2018 to fall 2019 is in the 96th percentile, which means they made more progress than 96% of their peers. How can you use your child's winter MAP scores? Well, knowing that we have made it to the spring, you should be receiving spring scores soon. So I do kind of want to tell you about some things that you can do with the spring scores after you receive them. You can set goals for the summer. You can ask your student if they received a higher score or a lower score than they did than the first couple of times around. You can look to see if the graph matches what you know about their ability in specific learning areas, math and reading. And now, what is your goal to get ready for the fall? What will you do to reach your goal are also some things that you may ask your students. And then as a parent, ask your kiddo, how can you help your child to reach their MAP goal? Here's some questions you could also ask to your child's school. Once you receive your report and you've gone through it, these are just some sample prompts that you can ask about if you have questions about your child's RIT score. What types of strategies are being used at school? How can I use those strategies at home? Does my child need extra practice in any specific area? And how can I help my child to reach those specific academic goals? Other questions you may want to ask is, when will my child's progress be measured again? And when can I get an update on my child's academic growth? Finally, you may also want to know where you can get more information about the test in depth. You can always check out nwea.org Family Toolkit for more information on MAP growth, how it works, what it measures, and all of the FAQs. How will we use in this case, the spring, but how will we use those scores? Where you already heard Ms. Cheryl Parker talk about those scores are actually used to help us to identify students who need more support. But in the classroom, MAP scores are always used to inform instruction, to set personalized learning goals and personalized learning paths for students, to monitor the growth of individual students, and to plan for intervention, to see the performance and progress of a grade level, school, or even look at the entire district progress over the year. Spring MAP testing dates. Again, as I mentioned before, this says March 28th is the final day of our closing window, but we do allow a few more days for kiddos who may not have had a chance to test. So we will be testing right up through the end of this week. Your child's school should let you know the specific date that your child has taken or will take the MAP test. Please also make sure that they always get a good night's rest whenever they are going to take the test. Talk to your child about their MAP goals and doing their best as always on any assessment. And now I'll turn it, I'm sorry, do we have any questions? All right, I will turn it over to Dr. Katika Levitt.
Okay, thank you for that, and good evening, parents and community members. I will be talking about our Universal Social Emotional Behavior Screener, also known as the BAS-3 BESS. Next slide, please. You may recall from our previous family and community meetings that we introduced the BAS-3 BESS as our new universal screener in the area of behavior. Here we have the executive summary from the fall administration of the universal screener, and I will share a few of the highlights that we found in the first administration. District staff partnered with West Ed to complete or to develop an early warning system and response protocol guidance, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. 21 staff persons from our student support and intervention team special education, and social emotional learning were trained as Review 360 trainers. Principals, school counselors, and social workers participated in an in-service on the BAS 3 BEST, the early warning system, and the response protocol. 225 school screener ambassadors from all schools and school programs were also trained on the Review 360 platform. 2,092 teachers completed screener information, and that was on 28,734 students, or about 79% for completion. And finally, 21,198 students in grades 3 through 12 completed the student self-report assessment. That was 76%. And finally, parents completed the parent form for 3,053 students. As we administer the BAS 3 BEST, there are 3 pieces that we want to make sure that you remember. And one of those is the teacher assessment, and that information we do get separately. We look at those scores. We also have the student assessment and the parent assessment, all of which were mentioned in the previous slide. Depending on the information that we receive from the survey or from the assessment, we have a response protocol here that guides how we further support the needs of our students. Here you'll see on day 1, we administer the universal screener. Day 2, our school screener ambassadors review screener reports to identify those students who are noted as having elevated or extremely elevated risk, and those individuals are provided to our school-based student support staff. They then follow up with screening, brief intervention, and a referral to next steps if applicable. You'll see here in days 2 and 3, the school-based support staff members utilize our student chat form and the parent report to meet directly with students to confirm the risk and further assess the need for support. Following that time, the school-based support staff member contacts the parent or guardian via phone or meeting to discuss the risks that are identified and to work collaboratively to create a plan of support. Day 7, if the need of support is confirmed, the student may be added to our care team, and we've shared information regarding care teams in previous meetings. The care teams are individuals who come together to support student needs, such as attendance, behavior, or course or credit concerns. Day 15, school teams review student level data and finalize decisions about the provision of student-specific supports. The school teams also look at schools by grade, gender, race, and classroom level data to identify gaps and develop a strategy and plan to enhance or expand our existing supports in the area of Tier 1. And finally, on day 15, we continue the ongoing assessment, support, and monitoring of progress. So how can parents support this effort? Now, I mentioned in the beginning, and as we shared in our previous presentation on the BAS 3 BEST, parents are a critical part of both the assessment and the response in our supports for students. The first way that parents can support this effort is through two-way communication. We ask that you be open to communicating and sharing with the school about any concerns that you have or concerns that you've received from your teachers. Teamwork. We're asking that you continue to work in conjunction with our schools to provide insight and your recommendations for how your child can best be supported in school. A starting point. We want you to use the screener outcomes as a starting point to engage in conversation with your children. And finally, partnerships. Please provide updates to your child's school on how they're responding to the recommended strategies and interventions. And here we have the BAS 3 BEST Spring Administration Timeline. And I won't go through all of these dates as we have just wrapped up the timeline, but the key point here is that we began the testing in February. That testing was completed in the beginning of March, and we are now at the time, and we have now just completed the dissemination of the parent letters, which explains the outcomes from the assessment. Okay, I will pause at this time for any questions that you have. Okay, and we have received a couple of questions that I will address both here on the call, and we'll also drop this into our video chat on feature on YouTube. In terms of the timeline for follow-up, that timeline we did share a moment ago. If we can go back a couple of slides at this time, I'll just point out a few things. Thank you. So here we have that response protocol. And that protocol, again, is something that we've shared previously, but this protocol talks about what the time looks like. And it's an estimate of time. You'll see that we have between days 2 and 3 that the school-based support member utilizes the opportunity to meet with students to confirm the risk. It's very important that if we see students who are elevated or extremely elevated, that we better understand their need for support. Following that time, after day 2 or 3, the parent and guardian is contacted to further engage in an opportunity for supports or to discuss how we can work together to support the students. Day 7, if the need for support is confirmed, we can then add the students to our care team, and I talked about that a moment ago, but the care team continues the process around discussion and supporting students through case management. And finally, after that process, the school team continues the work of looking at trends throughout the data so we can better expand existing Tier 1 supports, which go to all students. And we continue the ongoing assessment, support, and monitoring after that time. Okay, we also have a question here. How is the BASC driving instruction? And I will just say that the BASC 3 Best is really what we use to help drive supports for students. In addition to the universal screener that we just talked about, the map really helps us in terms of the academic lens and how we can better understand our student strengths and weaknesses to come up with some particular areas to target for growth. And the BASC 3 Best really focuses on the additional development, the social emotional needs, the behavioral health, and the mental health. And so we use those together to really drive the instructional experience for our students. And who has access to the scores? Once the results of the BASC 3 Best are completed, that is then sent to parents, and the parents receive a copy of those reports. And of course, the teachers who are completing the BASC 3 Best also have access to the scores. And I believe that has finished up our questions at this time. I will turn it over to Monique O'Brien to walk us through APS Insights. Thank you.
Good evening again, families. Are you interested in learning more about Atlanta Public Schools data? APS Insights is the data website for Atlanta Public Schools. To access APS Insights, please go to www.apsinsights.org. On our website, we offer 2 types of data, blogs and school profiles. Blog posts are created as data are released by the Georgia Department of Education and the Governor's Office of Student Achievement. In addition, we have school profile data on APS Insights. On the school profiles, you can find information on your school's College and Career Readiness Performance Index, also known as CCRPI. Data included in the CCRPI index includes milestone proficiency, student growth, school climate measures, as well as attendance. Please note the Georgia Department of Education paused CCRPI in 2020 and 2020-21 as a result of learning interruptions from the pandemic. As a result, these data points are only available through 2019. CCRPI will be available this school year, and we expect to update many of these data points in the fall of 2022. Next slide. So again, to learn more about your school or any Atlanta public school, you can go to www.apsinsights.org, click on the school profile in blue. From there, you can select your grade level as well as the school that you're interested from the drop-down and learn something new about your school. Next slide. To access our blogs, you may select blog from the main APS Insights webpage. Next slide. On this page, you can find blogs such as enrollment trends across the past 27 years. You may also view information about our cohort 2021 graduates. To be updated on new blogs, please subscribe to our website by selecting subscribe and enter your email address. You will receive an email notification each time a new blog becomes available, such as our map assessment data blog that we expect to be available this spring. At this time, I will pause for questions.
Okay, Ms. O'Brien, thank you for that information. I don't see any additional questions coming into the chat regarding APS Insights. So at this time, next slide, please. Okay. At this time, we just want to pause and just thank you again, parents and community members, for attending the session with us today. We have had an opportunity to review some critical areas, being the MAP, the BAS3 BEST, which is our universal screener for behavior. MAP is our universal screener for academics. And finally, APS Insights. We are excited in the Division of Academics to be of service to you, and we welcome any continued questions that you have. We will be looking at the information in the chat via YouTube, and we will be addressing questions there as well. But on behalf of Ms. Yolanda Brown, our Chief of Academics, and Dr. Lisa Herring, our Superintendent of Schools, we thank you for